Okay, so I have my Nexus 2000 second generation, Nexus 7 2013. Broke my screen, talk like heck. Make sure you take off your screen protector. First thing you want to do is maybe make sure that the screen that you've got matches the screen that you're going to replace. Notice the plastic tabs, that all covers glue. So really, that's the toughest part of it all. I assume, because it's the first time I've ever done this. So what I did was I took mine and I put it on the dash of my truck for a while so I could warm up the glue. And I'm hoping to get lucky and be able to just pry it off. Of course, probably the wisest thing I could do is maybe power it off. I have a heck of a time with the touch screen ever since it cracked, to where I can't do anything. Okay, let's go off here. I don't want to do anything. Come on, get along with me. You don't have to be this way. Maybe I got lucky there. Notice how I had to hold the power button and hit the power down. Doesn't seem like it worked. Oh, there we go. Maybe. No. Alright. Power it off. So like I say, the glue around the edges is going to be your toughest part. Of course, I'd always be watching. Notice I'm starting at the camera end because there are no connectors there. So really, there's no connectors on this end. So that's the end I'm starting with. Now this stuff will be sharp. So gloves might be highly recommended. You're probably going to destroy a lot of your screen. Use the plastic tools supplied in the kit, because you don't want to damage your casing. But like I say, expect the glass to just continue to break up like it is. This is just not going to be a fun adventure. Be very careful because we're going to be pulling up this glue. So your screen is likely going to come off in a million pieces. And there's a real likelihood of cutting yourself. Now that I'm past the camera, I might even take a tool, metal one. I don't know, we'll see. I like to keep a hold of the sides of the cabinet so that when I'm prying it up, I don't actually bend it off. Bend the original casing and of course the motherboard. And this is just a crappy adventure though. I would hope that a guy could get under the corner, under the edge and slide along. But the glue is, well, better than the glass. Good thing I don't need this one screen. Boy, I hate to have to enter one of these. How to fix anything other than replace the display. It seems like I wouldn't get it off. I'm quite surprised that even though I've heated it up quite a bit, and like I say on the dash of my truck, if you don't have a hairdryer handy, I'm just not a hairdryer kind of guy, then dash your vehicle will probably work. So now for a little bit of gutsiness. Come on. Come on. Oh, this is going to be brutal. I mean, just brutal. Because I'm just going to have to keep doing this all the way around the sides. Now remember, since your screen's broken, it doesn't matter if you're breaking it up more. See if we can get lucky and pry up the metal casing and make it work with us. Yeah, might be onto something here. Oh my God. It slowly comes up. I'm sure glad the connectors are all down on one end. There'll be a bit of cleanup to this puppy. Oh yeah, slips right out of that connector. All by its lonesome. And how about our other one? So, that's one. And then, where are the other ones? Wow. That's just brutal. I tore off the bigger one. It's still attached. And it's literally on the board underneath. Isn't that going to be fun? Like I say, this glass is sharp. So watch out for it. There's going to be lots of cleaning up to this. I wouldn't doubt that some rubbing alcohol, very carefully applied, might come in handy. Get rid of some of the blue residue. So, you want to be real careful with it. Because of course you don't want to get your device wet. But of course if you're using rubbing alcohol or isopropanol, it'll evaporate, so you just need to give it time before you put it all back together. Wow. Isn't that just wow. I wonder how many will be as surprised as me to see it light up again. Thankfully I have a backup of my data in case I need to invest in a new Android device. I'm not sure. I kind of like this tablet though, but I'm not 100% sure that I would reinvest, just because my screen sort of, I didn't expect it to be broken when I pulled it out of my coat pocket. I had just put it in there minutes before. Now I'm not really going to pry that piece up from the from under this side unless I disconnect that connector, meaning cut it off. And I guess I could just separate it from the glass. But since that connector appears to be underneath, there we go. Now it's separated from the glass. Well, separated from this big chunk that I need to get off. Wow. Come on, baby. I guess maybe my heating has cooled off now. Be very careful putting this as close to your eyes as I am. As you can see, I'm blind as a bat. So, but really, you don't want shards of glass in your eye. Hopefully, I'm there now. Where I need to be. Yep, that's why they call me a handyman. Because I'm foolish enough to do even this. I've been in a few devices before though. One time I used to change the LED lights. The old green screen phones. Remember those? Alright. So, got most of my glue and the original tape off. Like I say, it goes all the way around. Pretty likely I'm going to find something to clean that up when I go to put it back together. Now we see, what is that, 3 screws? How are we getting at that board? Donnie little stumped. Donnie's just a little stumped. Let's see, got that piece off. Comparing the two. I'm looking at this, looking at that. Maybe the chunk I tore out. Maybe the little tabby that slipped out. Got to be careful with these little types of connectors, because some are just a slip in and some are a push in. This one looks to be just a push in. Well, back to fighting with this. Okay, get out of here, mosquito. So, I need to discover how to get the frame off. See all the screws from the other side, not from this side. That is going to be a problem. So, does it actually separate? Right here? Doesn't look like it. But then again, that board needs to come out of there. Somehow she's got to come out. So the back skin must pop off. Wow, it's not something I really relish getting into. There we go. Slides the magic fingernail in there. In case I have long fingernails, you know. So if you're chick doing this, well, a lady, you'll probably have a little more success than the odd dude with too short of nails. And of course, for dudes, it did give us the tools. Alright, sorry for the interruption there. I had to go get my trusty paper clip so I could remove my SIM card and tray before I continued. So I've used this to separate the two pieces of the back. Like I say, working opposite of the power jack and where the jacks are on the screen. So now I should be able to look at that, pop it just apart. That's going to give me the opportunity to find out here's our two plugs right here. Now we just need to know how they open. That's the important thing with these, is do they just slide out? Of course they're taped down. So we're going to have to get that tape to lift. Which is essentially scraping it off, or maybe I'll pull off these last few pieces of glass on the cable. And that way I can just push the cable through. Like I said, when you're doing this job, expect to totally destroy the original screen. Now, I should be able to tuck this through here. Of course, again, most of the stuff gets destroyed. So pull that sucker through, and that'll help to lift the tape that's actually holding it down and in place. Which means we might have to come back later and get that tape. Now we need to know how to get those out. Isn't that a treat? Well, I've managed to pull it out. I tend to be very, very careful with these little brown things. They're essentially a jack here. There is no split I can see. That they pop. So don't try to pull them up or anything like that. Just push it through the board like I did and pull it out. Now of course hang on to the piece because we're pretty likely going to need that tape later on. Wow, now it's going to get interesting, huh? So, like I say, you could probably take some isopropanol and clean off this glue if you wanted to. The original glue. Depends how picky you are. Personally, I'm just going to clean the edges of all that essentially grease and stuff that comes off of your hands when you're holding these. Gets stuck down in the edges. I'm going to clean that out to make sure I don't have any glass or anything in there. The interesting part's going to be getting this little puppy where it needs to go. That's going to be very interesting because there's the jack right there. So, do we pull the tape off of the glue first? Or do we try to get the jack in first? Remember this set of tabs that I pushed through? We're just going to go back through. Like so. That's this first one. It's got to do a U-turn. That's just cute. This is going to end up with this facing this direction. Wow. Isn't that going to be fun? Fun and exciting. Well, I'm going to slip my hand to the back. Well, I'm not going to slip my hand anywhere in there because there's just no space. There's got to be an easier way. Well, of course I don't want to mess with every jack on this thing. And of course these cables. There's also wiring. Otherwise I'd be tempted to unseat this metal piece of the board. Somehow we're going to have to choose not to do that. So. Can we just disassemble the board? Gotta love these little warranty seals. Once I'm this far, I'm pretty sure I'm screwed from warranty. Alright. Well, probably would have paid to get instructions for this. Clear ones. Because, let's see. Some things in this kit come in handy, like the pick. Allow me to see if that, oh, look at that. Since I can slide that under there, and I can slide that under there, those are not connected. These means I am going to take a shot at taking that part out. Except, look at it, it will be coming out this way. This one, that's not a problem. With the other one, that is a problem. Because I really don't want to unseat that from its connector. Though it appears to pull out. Let me see. If I take that out, what does that give me? gives me the opportunity to lay this on top of the screen and fold that in and connect it, and then assemble the pieces. It's a pretty valid way to go. Hey, there's my lithium-ion battery, I guess. That's essentially what that is. Since that says lithium-ion, I'm going to assume it's a battery. So that means that it can be unplugged and removed. Now, right, those are some tiny, tiny screws. We just have to have gotten a tiny screwdriver. Look at that. Those are going to be fun to find. And I don't really need the seals on top of the screws anymore, so I'm going to pull those off. That's a much bigger screw. What's with that? Get. And this one. This one does not want to come out. Maybe I should put a Netflix show on for this portion of the... I guess the most important thing is to get at the points for the screwdriver. See, it doesn't have to come off in perfect shape. So, I'm going to assume the big ones are important. Oh, look at that, they're even magnetic. Beautiful. Inside my electronic thing. So, this little puppy's magnetic. I wouldn't go waving it around inside your device too much. See, does that loosen our battery? No, not really. There is a jack right here for what appears to be the battery. Look at that. And when you pull enough screws, the battery will come free. Well, none of this is free. It's an expensive adventure. But hey, maybe I'll get a bounty or something from somewhere. I'm foolishly going through this without instructions. Yeah, look a little dangerously. Alright, so we have two different places we can unplug that sucker from. And the better gamble appears to be up here. Actually see part of the jack. So very, very gently I have to tape. Tapes it in place. that. There's our jack. So, number one. Be very careful with these cables. Well, that looks like that's going to be fun to get back in. But, slides right out, unfolds, unfolds. And the battery jack is up in the corner. Let's get the battery free first. Again, it's taped like everything else. This little jack looks like a bit of fun. Definitely don't want to rely too much on this stuff. So, appears to be. Appears to be probably easier to just hold the darn thing out of the way. But we're not really going to be able to connect that, are we? So back to figuring out how to get that jack apart. Looks like it's got a couple of catches. Alright. That's what they would be. A couple of little, oh, look at that. It appears what you do is pry it upwards. And then get your battery out of the way. So, battery out of the way. Alright. So, continuing on from where we were, well, pretty close. Trying to flip this around and make the connection into the display is just a bit psycho for me. So I chose another route, which is probably simpler and maybe could avoid actually unplugging this. And that is that I undid the jack for the speaker and undid the screws for this board. So that allows us to pull this board back and out of the way. Leaving us a lot more access when we want to connect the display. So the next move will be to strip off all of the plastic on the glue. course, be careful that you don't wreck this connector. Then we take our frame and lift up our connector and slide it into position. Once you have them lined up, flip it over and settle the glass just by pressing the glue lightly. And we have our display in place. So now it becomes a lot easier. Hey. Hey. I'll be darned. Look at that. That won't actually make it around to go in. And boom, poof. The job is over because this part is not long enough to get into that part. Isn't that kind of curious? Or is it? Well, looks like it can go in there. But it's going to take a little bit of massaging to make that happen. There's a couple of little tabs on the sides that one could use. Don't scrape the board, whatever you do. Don't scrape the board. It's going to be real fun getting that in there. I wonder if it's liftable. Doesn't appear to have hinges, so there's no lifting it. It's going to have to be a slide-in thing. difficult, but it's doable. Just keep it pressed flat while you push on the side tabs on the tape. And in she goes. So, that means now we can put this board back in place. Making sure the speaker wear is up. And it wiggles back into its spot. The speaker will, well, let's secure the board first. So, I kind of want to use the same screws from the same holes. So, try not to make those, mix those up. It's very likely the black screws go into a plastic or something like that. A magnetic screwdriver comes in handy at this time. I don't suggest cranking them all down until you've got everyone in place, and then go back over them. Battle of the magnets right beside the speaker. This is quite the little adventure, if you ask me. Now, from the best of my recollection, one of the black ones went on this little corner. And the rest were, let's call it chrome, or chrome plated, chrome looking. So now that everybody's placed, we'll go back and snug them up. Don't really want to bind the board. So I tend to use a crisscross. Of course, make sure they're snug by the mini USB. Alright, so now we can plug in that part of the display, and we can plug in the speaker again. This should be fun. I'm telling you, them tiny hand people, they really got something on us. And she goes. And we have our two tapes. Again, they've got tabs on each side of them to assist you in pushing them into place. See the little tiny tab, 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 tab. Try to do things evenly. Push a little bit on one side, push a little on the other side. And doing both at the same time. Once they start to go, then they'll pretty much go. Might almost be easier just using friction with your fingers. Of course, we'll use the piece of tape off of the original. Try not to touch the glue yourself. Hopefully it's not going to just curl up on me like it did. Once you get one corner of it down, it'll all become a lot easier to uncoil and get the other side. Ay, 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 ay. So it goes from copper pad to copper pad. Try to make sure the excess isn't touching anything. Try to get it on the copper pad to the copper pad. Now we should be able to put it back in our battery and then make our last connection. Oh boy, won't this be joyful and fun. tough gig. There's got to be a different way. I think I just spotted it. Yep, I'm correct. This goopy thing comes right up. And I am. Just the same way the battery went down. Gently pry this one up. Gotta watch out for these goofy little wires. There's a little tiny channel for them to run in. It circumvents the screws. Challenging to keep it in place. But that's where it goes. So, in goes our battery. Down goes our battery. You'll actually hear that snap in place. Same thing with this one. You should be able to actually hear it snap into place. Put down the grounding tape. Maybe we'll put a few screws in before we get too excited. Now, big ones. Had the seals on before, right here. And right here. And one here. Little trick I often use is reversing a screw to get it to thread correctly. Because you want all your screws snug. So that the grounding pads ground. Try not to strip the screws. Laptopdepot.com, of course, or pardon me, laptopscreen.com provides you with the right size of screwdriver. But you need to be careful where the wires on the sides are. So that's why I tend to like to do this kind of last. Because I can see right now, one of them little plastic things is going to come in handy. Because one of my wires is not in the right place. But we can just tuck it back in. Gently, of course, using plastic tools. And in she goes. Put in the balance of our screws. We have last connection to make before we completely reassemble. Wow, you know I'm blind. Like I say, make sure you're not pinching any wire. The wires that run on each side. One goes from this board to that board. The other one goes from here up to here. Yeah, like usual, tiny screws are a lot of fun. It's always got to be the last one, huh? Down she goes. Nice and snug, but don't strip the screws. Alright. So let's see, could have I avoided the battery just by pulling this board? Sure. I could have left the battery in place. And by undoing these connectors, which are going to be nothing but fun to put back in. This is a long one, so take your time. Don't crack the screen. And just use that tab. Get it lined up and biggest hassle will be that it's so long, so you need to make sure that both sides are going in at the same time. And then it will work out for you. Yeah, it's a bit of patience required. There you can see that a pin away, like I just did. They line up pretty exactly, sort of thing. Uh-oh. Be careful that the pins don't lift on you and move out of place. I did use your plastic tools to smooth them back into place. install. Especially going over the battery. But if you can get it lined up right, it should just slip right in. And there's a little red line on there to tells you it's all the way in. Alright. So we're pretty much ready to pop our back case back on. Remembering the camera is here, so use the camera hole there. There's your buttons. Not a lot of stress on putting those in. And of course, remember, we got to start off with the power jack. We need it in place first. So start with the power jack and just work your way down it. It just snaps back into place. Take our SIM card, put our SIM card back in. Of course, make sure it doesn't fall out of its slot in the tray. Take off your crapola and pray. Look at that. It's not a perfect display, but it is a display and it's up and running. Of course, mine's rooted, so it looks a little different starting up than yours might. We'll just take it in to a point here, show you that the tap 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 works, and we'll call it a day. Little shards of glass all over. Vacuum. Be very wise. Hey, it almost works. Let's see. Let's pull up something like a calculator, because it's got buttons all over the place. Yep. Plus 6, 7, 4, 1. Yeah, let's try that. And add in one of those and throw in one of those. I think we're done for the day. Maybe we'll touch a little newsy just to prove that we've got sound.
It's been a busy few weeks for judges ruling on...
Oops.
It's been a busy few weeks for judges ruling on same-sex marriage. Tuesday, a judge in Pennsylvania struck down the state's ban on gay marriage, the second
and I'd say we're
so
done.
Far just this week. State offices immediately began issuing marriage licenses following the ruling, which overturned the state's 18-year-old defense